Okay, so we have already covered the basic instruction on the sitting meditation, using the rising, falling as the primary object. Okay, and also we also discuss how to note the secondary object as you are noting the rising and falling. Okay? However, for some yogis, for whatever reasons, some yogis have they find some difficulty in using the rising falling as the primary object. Okay? So some usually they find difficulty in discerning the rising falling. Okay, and sometimes even when they can discern it, but at times it is not clear enough. Okay? So when the object is not clear enough, the yogi will have difficulty in following the object, noting the object continuously. Okay, so when this happened, you find that the noting, the mindful noting cannot go on continuously. Okay? Yogi keep losing the object again and again. Okay? So this kind of disrupt the meditation process. So the what we call a vipassana cannot go on. The continuous mindful noting cannot go on. Okay? So and there are various reasons why this can happen to some yogis. Okay? So one reason could be that the breathing is too shallow. So when the breathing is naturally shallow, then you find there's hardly any movement at all, whether in the abdomen or in the chest. It moves so slightly that even if you feel it at all, it's very difficult to discern it clearly. And then you find very difficult to follow. So another reason could be that the yogi is too thin. So one reason to fatten up as a yogi. When you're too thin, also sometimes when you breathe, then the movement is very slight, very difficult to discern. It can happen. Okay? So, often you find that the Burmese, they do not have any problem with rising, falling. So I think this is because Burmese, when they go for retreat, when they meditate, actually every day, whether in retreat, they wear their national attire, which is the longi. Longi is like the sarong. So they tie the sarong around their waist, around the abdomen. And often you have to tie it very tightly, otherwise they fall down. So when you tie it very tightly around it, then even if you breathe, the movement is, the rising, falling is very slight because of the tightness around the abdomen. That it kind of like enhance the feeling. And then you can feel it more clearly. Yeah. I know this because as a monk, we also wear sarong. Our lower robe is basically a sarong. Right? And for monks, we not only wear the sarong, on top of it, we also tie a belt around the sarong. It is a requirement, a vinaya requirement, so that the monks don't face the embarrassing situation when they walk among the lay devotees and the sarong drop down. So we have to tie. So the sarong itself is already so tight, and then we tie the belt around. Then it becomes very tight. Then the rising, falling, even very slight, also becomes very clear. So, but for you all, you don't wear sarong. So, but there is one thing that you can do that can help to enhance the feeling of the rising, falling. In case you cannot feel it clearly, there's one thing you can do. Very simple. Just place your hand on the abdomen, or on the chest, or on wherever you usually feel the rising, falling. Just place the hand firmly there, and then when you breathe, you can feel it clearly. So often the teachers also will instruct you, and you say when you report that you cannot feel the rising, falling clearly, often the teachers also will instruct you to do this. Put your hand firmly. You can put one hand, put two hands, as long as you don't feel tired. Also, to hold up the hand also, after a while it feels tired. So, but you can put it there first, and then you feel it, you try to follow it. After a while, you can follow it, then you can put down your hand. So, this is one way can help you to feel the rising more clearly. Okay. Of course, you can always also wear sarong. So, try a belt also. For the men, you always have belt around. Actually, you don't need belt. You can simply also take even just a piece of rope and then just tie around. You tie tight enough, you can feel the rising, falling clearly. For us monks, actually, sometimes our belt is we just simply take a piece of cloth, a brown piece of cloth, and then we just tie it around. So, now for some other yogis, their difficulty in discerning the rising, falling can come about because they are too tense. So, when you are too tense in noting the rising, falling, so this often happens to yogis who have this tendency. You want to control everything. So when you have this tendency, you want to control things. And then you hear the basic instruction. The teachers always emphasize you must note clearly. You must note precisely. You must note clearly. And then when you note rising, falling, not clear, then your controlling habit comes. Control it. Breathe harder. Make it clearer. So when you, and this often happens unconsciously, because it's an unconscious habit. It kicks in whenever you feel not satisfied, you want to control. So then you end up, when you control so much, you control your breathing so much, you end up, the body becomes very tense after a while. So breathe in, breathe out, hard, breathe in, hard, breathe out, hard, breathe in, hard, breathe out, hard. after a while, surely you end up very tense, right? So, so when your body is very tense, not relaxed, breathing also is affected, becomes not smooth. And when you're very relaxed, your breathing is very smooth. It occurs naturally, in and out very smoothly. So, but when you are so tense, the breathing sometimes become very jagged, so not smooth. And then, of course, when you try to follow the rising, falling, it won't appear so clearly. Okay? You have a lot of other physical sensation mixed in with the rising, falling. Physical sensation that comes from the tension in the body, tension in the breathing is all mixed together with the rising, falling. Then, of course, you won't appear clearly. Yeah. So to use the rising, falling as your primary object, you need to be physically very relaxed, relaxed enough to allow the natural breathing to occur, okay, without trying to control it in any way. Okay? You must be very relaxed enough for the breathing to occur naturally. You can get a sense of how the natural breathing occur. Because from the example, because many yogis often report that when they lie down at night, when they are about to go to sleep, and they lie down on the bed at night, often they find that the rising, falling can become very clear. Why does the rising, falling become clear when you lie down? Because when you lie down with the intention to sleep. So you totally let go of everything. So you let go of everything, and your body calm down, become relaxed. So when you relax, your breathing also occur very naturally. You breathe in, breathe out. You occur naturally. So the breathing becomes smooth. Then the rising, falling naturally, they appear clearly. Okay. Yeah. So that gives you a hint what you must do in order for the rising, falling to appear clearly by itself during the sitting meditation. You must be relaxed, like you are about to fall asleep. Yeah. Yeah, sometimes some teachers give this instruction to a yogi who is too tense. So instruct them. So meditate as if you want to fall asleep. And that will balance up the energy straight away. So provided you can let go. Sometimes the controlling tendency is too strong. As you relax, cannot relax, must do, must control. So in this case, sometimes I ask the yogi, okay, forget about rising, falling first. So I tell them, you just forget totally that you are taking rising, falling as your primary object. Okay, so don't think about rising, falling as your primary object. Okay, so just direct your attention elsewhere first. When you sit down to meditate, so don't start with the rising, falling. Okay? So direct your attention elsewhere. Make as if you are taking another object as your primary object. Let's say you direct your attention to the sitting posture. You're not sitting. Or you direct your attention to a touch point that is clear. Choose an object that is clear, whether the sitting posture or touch sensation somewhere in your legs, in your buttock, your hand touching. So wherever you feel a clear physical sensation, direct your attention there first. And note that as an object. You're not sitting, or touching. Okay? So note that object continuously. Okay. So when you're noting another object, your attention is not on rising, falling. Then you don't have the tendency to control the breathing. Right? So you totally let go of any control of the breathing. Then you start to breathe naturally. Right? The breathing occurs by itself naturally. Naturally we breathe, right? We don't have to do anything. Naturally we breathe. Right? So you just have to allow that to happen. And so when you direct your attention away from the breathing or anything connected with the breathing, then you let go of control of the breathing naturally. The breath occurs naturally. Okay. So when the breathing occurs naturally, the rising, the falling also occur naturally. Okay? When they start to occur naturally, you can start to feel the rising, the falling clearly. Okay, at first, still don't go and note it first. Let it occur naturally for some time. Okay? So until it get into the natural rhythm. So continue to note the other object. Okay. So after some time, after it has occurred naturally for some time, the rising, falling occur up, down, smoothly. Then you gently direct your attention to the rising, falling. And then flow with it. Okay? Direct your attention there, hold the attention on the rising, falling, feel it clearly, flow with it continuously. Okay? Yeah. And then when you find that after a while, the controlling tendency come in again. Then again you go back. You direct your attention again away from it. Okay, until you totally let go of that tendency. Then when the breathing occurs naturally, clearly again, then only again bring it back to the rising, falling. Okay. And for those with this tendency to control the breathing. So noting the rising, falling can be somewhat tricky also. So because we said that when you note, there must be effort in the noting, right? So whenever you hear effort only, you start to control, right? So you make effort. So, and if you're not careful in making effort, the effort overflow into controlling the breathing. Okay? So that's why you need to learn how to make effort when noting the rising, falling. You need to know where to direct the effort towards. So actually you should be directing effort. When we say make effort, when you note the rising, falling, you note with effort, right? You must know where to direct the effort. Right? So you don't direct effort to controlling the breathing. So you direct the effort simply to turn the attention to the rising, falling as it occurs. Turn the attention there to feel it, effort to turn the attention there, effort to feel the movement of the rising and falling, effort to flow with it continuously. Okay? That's all. That's how you direct your effort. Okay? You don't direct the effort to control the breathing. Simply direct the effort to bring the attention to the rising and falling as it occurs, to feel the movement as clearly as you can, and to simply follow it, flow with it continuously. Okay? That's all. That's where you put your effort in. You don't put your effort into controlling the breathing. Okay. So if you know where to direct the effort, okay, then you won't end up controlling the breathing. You find that rising, falling can be very relaxing. The natural breathing and then the natural rhythm of breathing is very relaxing. You won't end up with tension in the body. There will be no other extra sensation together with the rising, falling. So if your body, you control your body tense up, there will be many other sensations present, mixed up together, then the rising, falling won't be clear. Okay? But when you let go of the controlling tendency, you just breathe naturally. So there will be just a sensation, the pure sensation of the rising, pure sensation of the falling, no other sensation. And then it will appear clearly. You can follow it smoothly. So now, however, if for whatever reason you find that somehow you are unable to, no matter what you do, you're still unable to take rising, falling as your object, to discern it clearly, to be able to follow it clearly, continuously. Okay, then don't despair. There is still hope. Because Vipassana is not just about rising, falling, right? Vipassana is just one of the objects of Vipassana meditation. So there is an alternative is available. An alternative primary object is available. So don't despair. Okay. So so now also don't wait. Okay. So there's this alternative primary object, the sitting, touching. Okay. So rising, falling is what? Rising, falling is rupa, physical object. Okay, so rupa is object of Vipassana. Object of Vipassana is nama rupa. Okay, so but of course we begin with rupa, the kaya nupassana. So rising, falling is kaya. So also sitting, touching. So it can serve as an alternative. Okay. Now, so if you find that the rising, falling is not clear, okay, so don't wait. Okay, so don't sit around, wait there. When is the rising, falling going to be clear? You wait there. So don't wait. Okay, because waiting is not meditation. When you wait for the object to come, that you are not meditating. So that means there's no mindful noting going on. Okay, so when there's no mindful noting going on, that means there's no anupassana, right? No continuous mindful noting. Okay, so don't sit around and wait for object to come to be clear. So waiting is not meditation. Noting is meditation. So noting must go on continuously. according to the Buddha's instruction, anupassana. Okay? So as soon as you find rising, falling not clear, cannot discern, cannot follow, okay, then immediately you can switch to note this alternative primary object, this sitting and touching. Okay. So what is this sitting and touching? So there are actually two objects here. Okay, so one is sitting, another one is touching. Okay, so there are actually two objects to be noted. So now, sitting. The first one, sitting. Sitting refers to the posture, your bodily posture. When you sit, so you sit upright. It's that upright position of the body that is called sitting. So sitting actually comes under the Iriya Pata Pabba, and the section on the bodily postures in Satipatthana Sutta. So there the Buddha gave the instruction. We should not contemplate the four postures. Okay, so the walking, standing, sitting, lying down. So one of the postures is sitting. Okay, so yeah, so sitting refers to the body in the sitting posture, body in the upright position. So when you sit, so you're supposed to hold your body, your torso upright. Okay, so Buddha says keeping the body upright, according to the commentary, means all your vertebrae in your spine is aligned, one on top of the other, upright. So that this prevents discomfort from arising too quickly. Because if your body is slouching, so the spine has to bear a lot of weight when your body is slouching. Okay, so your head itself is actually, I think, a few kilograms. So if you slouch, let's say your head bent down like this, imagine the tension created on the neck. You have to having to hold that very head down. Okay, so after a while, there's a lot of tension, and after a while, pain can also arise. Okay? But if you hold the body upright, then the weight is spread evenly. Okay, so if your spine is aligned, the vertebrae is aligned, one on top of the other. Okay? That's the reason why we want to sit upright. Okay? Knowing this reason also, you should not sit too stiff. Okay? You're too stiff, you're too tense, again you feel uncomfortable. Okay? So upright, just relax. So when your body is upright, then you bring the attention to the body in the upright position. Okay, so you bring your attention here, and then you feel the body in the upright position. So if you pay attention carefully, you can feel that there is some kind of physical force that is holding the body upright. You can feel it. You can try. You keep your body straight, upright. You can feel there's something holding the body upright. Okay? So if you cannot feel it, you can lift your arm up. So if you lift your arm up, so So you can feel something holds the arm up, and there's a force there that keeps the arm in this position. Okay? You let go of that, it just fall down. And I have intention to lift it up again. Again, you see the force come, it lifts it up, and then it holds it there. You can feel there's some kind of tension, stiffness there. As you lift it up, you can feel some kind of pulling it up. So there's a force there. Okay? It's the same when you hold the body up also. You can feel there's a force. So often you feel it as the sensation of uprightness of the body, sensation of some kind of sensation of tension, or tightness or firmness in the body. Usually it's along the spine. Okay, you can feel there's a sensation of firmness in the body. Some slight tension, stiffness. Okay? So you can observe this. You bring your attention to the body in the sitting posture, and then you can feel this physical force that's holding this body together in this upright position. Sometimes as you feel, as you are contemplating this sensation, you can feel it become a little bit weak. When the force becomes a little bit weak, you feel the body start to slouch. Then when you notice it's slouching, then your intention to straighten. Once the intention comes again, the force push it up again, push it up, and then it holds it there again. So you can feel it. So when you bring your attention to the body in the sitting posture, you can feel there's this force. This is actually what we call the wind element. In the technical term of the Dhamma, it's called the wind element. When you study the Dhamma, you read in the books, wind element, or such a big word, Vayodhatu. But actually, in terms of practice, in practical experience, it's just a very simple phenomenon. Just this, we call it the element of support. This exactly is what element of support is. So it's the force that holds the body upright. Without this force, your whole body will just drop down on the floor. So it's like when you have a balloon, you feel, if there's no air in the balloon, what happens? The balloon just collapses on the floor. When you start to pump air into the balloon, it starts to take shape, it starts to stand up. Right? So why? Because air element, the support from the air element holding it up. So in our body also, there's this air element, or wind element. So this is the element that holds the body up. Okay. Yeah. But when you come in for interview, don't report. One day I feel wind element. You're supposed to report what you experience. If you report, I feel, you feel tension, you report tension. If you feel stiffness, you report stiffness. You feel tightness, you report tightness. Okay? Report according to how you experience. Okay? Don't use big Dhamma words. So that one when you study, okay, meditation is about direct experience. Right? So not bookish experience. Okay? So you report directly what you experience. The best is report using everyday language. Don't mix in any Dhamma language in your reporting during the interview. So when you report using everyday language, it also keeps your mind simple. When your mind is simple, your meditation becomes better. Complicated mind, very difficult to meditate. You see something, immediately you want to analyze until you say pasikat or end up in a tangle. So meditation mind must be very simple, because the experience, the six sense experiences, they are very simple experiences. What we call nama rupa, they are actually very simple qualities. Rupa is very simple physical qualities. Tightness, tension, stiffness, hardness, softness, heat, cold. So even a small child can understand this, right? You don't need to be an Abhidhamma expert in order to know this. Okay? So when it comes to practical experience, things are very simple. Even nama also, it's just natural mental qualities. There's knowing, then knowing. Nothing complicated about knowing. Knowing is just knowing. You know, right? Every day you know. You know, you experience something, you know, right? There's knowing. There's feeling. Feeling is also very simple, right? Pleasant, unpleasant. So, yeah. So this is the sitting. So you bring the attention to the body in the upright position as you are sitting, and then you feel the sensation and the uprightness in the body. Okay, so that is called noting the sitting. So you can note as sitting, sitting, sitting. So you keep holding your attention on the posture and be aware of that physical force that's holding the body upright. Okay, and you note it as sitting, sitting, sitting. Okay. In the beginning, it may be quite difficult to discern if you are not used to noting the sitting. So, one exercise you can do in order to be able to discern the sitting more clearly. So, but do it sparingly and do it only in the beginning. Okay, don't keep doing this. Okay, you can first relax your body until it like slouch a little bit. Let it fall down a little bit, and then you firm it up again. You hold it up again. When you hold it up, you can feel the force very clearly. Okay, then you can relax it again, slouch, and then you hold it up again. So when you do this, you can feel, after doing this maybe 2-3 times, you can feel the sensation. Then hold the attention on that sensation and note it as sitting, sitting, sitting. Okay. So, but don't keep doing this. Whole hour you do this, do this, do this. Don't do this. It's just to help you feel the sensation. After a while, you not sitting, touching. After a while, you become familiar with the sensation. Then you don't have to do this anymore. Okay, so that's called noting of the sitting. Okay, and then touching, noting of touching. Touching means noting of touching means noting the experience of the different points in the body as it touches other surfaces. So when you're sitting, so various parts of your body are in contact with different surfaces, right? So usually we note the sensation as you sit on the meditation cushion or you sit on the floor. So your buttock is in contact with the seat, right? So there itself there's 2 points already. Right buttock, left buttock. So there are 2 points there. Then your legs also in contact with the floor or the seat. So right leg, left leg. Or you can zoom it down to the feet itself. Sometimes the sensation is clearer at the feet. So again, there are 2 points there, right feet, left feet. Okay. The hands also, when you place your hand one on top of another, so it's touching. That can also be a point of touching. Okay. So when you're not touching, so you bring your attention to this point of contact, this point of touching. Okay. Direct your attention there. Open up your awareness and feel whatever physical sensation present at the point of touching. Okay, so be clearly aware of whatever sensation is present as you continuously hold your attention on the point of touching. Okay, and you note this as touching, touching, touching. Okay, don't try to search for any particular sensation. Yeah, so just let your awareness be, direct your awareness there and allow the awareness to be completely open to the experience of touching. Then whatever sensation happen to be present, happen to be prominent at that moment, just allow the mindfulness to pick it up by itself. Okay? Don't try to search for any particular sensation. Okay? Don't have any idea of what the sensation is supposed to be. Okay? Just be completely open to the experience. The mind will be able by itself to pick up whatever sensation is present. Okay? Now, some yogis, especially beginners, instruct them to not touching. So they are not clear what exactly they are supposed to notice. So we instruct them, be aware of whatever sensation is present. Then they ask, what is this sensation that you are talking about? So, physical sensation. So, mine is very simple. I give you the instruction, note whatever physical sensation. Immediately the mind, you direct your attention there, the mind, because so simple, you can pick up. But the mind is very complicated. Can you define physical sensation? Give me a definition. Cham. It's like remind me of the time when I was studying physics. You must define. Everything must be defined. So usually for these yogis, I ask them to do an exercise with me. So I ask them to use their hand, place it. Usually they are sitting on the floor. So I ask them to place their hand on the floor. So for y'all, if you are sitting on a table, you can place your hand on the surface of the table or wherever you can find a surface. Just place your hand. So I can place my hand here. So you place your hand there, and then you direct your attention to the hand. Then you just feel whatever sensation is there. So without thinking, just allow the mind to feel without thinking. So what can you feel? You can try at home. Here they all have tried before. What can you all feel? You can turn on your mic and answer. You all feel anything? Don't think, just direct your attention to where the hand is touching the surface. What can you all feel? Anybody?
Hardness, softness,
Hardness.
Vibration.
Vibration. What else?
the smoothness of the table.
Smoothness. Just smoothness. Don't smoothness of the table. Smoothness is just smoothness. Table is your mind add something extra. What you feel is just smoothness.
Pressure.
Pressure. Yes.
Cold or hot.
Cold or hot. Yes. So you have to think about it.
No.
Do you have to think, right? You just simply direct your attention there, right? The moment the mind comes into contact with the experience of touching by itself, you will be able to pick up all this very simple sensation, right? So it's very simple. So that is the noting of touching. Right? So, so simply direct your attention there. Okay? The moment and the mind is directly in contact, clearly in contact with the experience of touching. All this sensation, if they are prominent, it will appear immediately to the mind. You don't even have to think about it. You don't even have to verbalize in the mind. There's hardness, there's softness, there's heat. The mind by itself, it knows intuitively what is this quality. Okay? So that's how you know the sensation of touching. Okay? And actually, in the same way, also, this is how you know when you're noting, for example, rising, falling. Right? So you simply direct the attention to the rising, falling, and then when the mind is clearly in contact with the movement of the rising, falling, then you can feel, immediately you can feel the physical sensation connected with the movement of the rising and falling. And you can feel like the tension, the tightness, the pressure, the movement, right? Naturally you feel it. Okay? Same with the when you're not sitting, right? Just now we explained sitting. So you bring your attention to the sitting posture. Your mind is clearly in contact with this experience of the body in the sitting posture. Immediately you can feel the stiffness, the tightness, the uprightness, all this sensation. You can feel it immediately. Okay? The only effort you need to do is bring the attention there and then feel it carefully, clearly. The mind by itself will be able to pick up this sensation. Right? Same with the walking meditation. Right? Walking meditation also. So as you lift the foot, as you push it forward, as you place it down, you direct your attention, follow it carefully. So as it lifts up, you can note lifting, all the while the mind feeling clearly, following carefully. Whatever sensation is present from beginning to the end, you follow the entire process of the sensation as it unfolds from beginning to the end of the lifting. You can feel at first maybe the pressure, and then the hardness, and then the sudden pulling up, lifting off, and then the lightness. So you can feel continuously. If you keep holding your attention continuously, then you can feel the process. You can observe how the process of the sensation unfold moment to moment to moment. So in our daily activities also. So as you, for example, stretch the arm forward. As you stretch, you can feel there's a pushing. After a while, you can feel the heaviness, and then you can feel the tightness. So you observe carefully, you move slowly, you can feel the sensation, the process of the sensation as it unfolds moment to moment, from beginning to the end. Yeah. So this is generally how you observe object connected with the body, the physical object connected with the body. Yes, kaya nupassana. So you feel all the sensation, right? So whatever bodily object you direct to, so you can feel, the mind can pick up all these different physical sensation. This physical sensation, these are what we call the four elements. So that big term, that big technical Dhamma term, the four elements. This is nothing but this physical sensation that manifests in various parts of the body. Yeah? So when you direct your attention to various parts of the body, whether to the rising, falling, or sitting, or touching, your steps as you walk, and so on, you can feel, the mind can feel, can pick up all these various physical sensation. Hardness, softness, heat, cold, roughness, smoothness, tightness, tension, stiffness, pressure, so on. So pay attention to this sensation. Often yogi do not pay attention to this sensation. So the practice become more like samatha. This is follow up and down, rising, falling, up and down. But you don't explore into the physical nature of the rising, falling. You don't explore into the physical nature of the sitting posture, the physical nature of the touch sensation. So, and then you're not doing vipassana. Vipassana is exploring into the nature of nama rupa. This is how you explore. First, of course, you follow. Once you can follow, you must explore this nature, not just keep following the object up and down, without exploring the nature. You just follow, it becomes more like a samatha practice. Yeah, after a while, you can follow it very well. But I ask to describe the experience, you won't be able to describe. So, okay. So this is the noting of the touch points, touch sensation. So when you note sitting, touching as your primary object, okay, so what you do is you choose several touch points. Okay, so to start off with, don't choose too many touch points. Okay, so maybe just start with 2. Okay, yeah, you may try 3 if you want, but at most 3. Don't go more than that. Okay, so you want to, at the beginning, you want to limit down the number of objects. Okay, so actually 2 is best to start with. Later on, if you want, you can add more. Depending on your needs, you can add more or you can reduce. Okay, but start with just 2. So you can choose, for example, maybe just let's say right buttock, left buttock, or right leg, left leg. 2 points there. Or you can choose maybe the touch point on your hand put together. That's one touch point. And then the whole buttock, that's another touch point. So 2 points. Choose a touch point where the sensation is clear. Okay, don't choose a touch point where it's not clear. Okay, so choose that in which the sensation appear clearly, easy to discern. Okay, so once you have the 2 touch point, okay, then you can begin. First, you bring attention to your sitting posture. You start with the sitting posture first. So you direct attention there. You feel the uprightness of the body. Then you're not sitting. Keep holding the attention there continuously as you're not sitting. Feel the sensation as clearly as you can. Okay. Then, so you note, let's say 7-8 times, sitting, 7-8 times. Okay, and then immediately turn your attention to the first touch point. Okay? Immediately, don't dilly-dally, take your sweet time. So the mind must be swift when it switch. Okay, so yeah, swift, but don't rush until you kelam kabut. Swift, but still maintain your composure. So sitting, touching, like that. Okay, so after you're not sitting for 7-8 times, turn your attention to the first touch point. Put your attention there, hold the attention there, as we said just now. Open your awareness to the touch point, the experience at the touch point, feel it, and then you're not touching. Okay? And not again, you're not 7-8 times. Okay? And then after that, again, return your attention immediately to the sitting posture. And you're not sitting 7-8 times. Okay? After that, turn your attention to the second touch point. Okay? And then again, in the same way, you're not touching. Okay? 7-8 times. Then after that, return sitting. So sitting. Okay. Then after that, what do? Go back to the first touch point. Okay. So you choose 2 touch point, and then the second touch point is the last one. After the last one, you go back to the first. Okay. So if you have 3 touch point, then you go sitting. Then first touch point, touching. And then sitting, then second touch point, touching. Then go back to sitting. Then after that, the third touch point. Then after that, back to sitting. Then go back to the first touch point. Okay, so you alternate between the noting of sitting, noting of touching. Okay? And then the touch point, you go systematically. First, then second, and third, then back to the first. Okay, don't go randomly as you like. So suka, you go this touch point. Suka, you go to that touch point. Do it systematically. First, second, third, then back to the first, second, third, like this. Okay. So as you note, sitting, touching. So you put effort into each noting, so that each time you note, the mind is fully, completely, and clearly aware of each object that is being noted. Okay, so when you're not sitting, so you make effort so that the mind is noting mind is fully, completely, clearly aware of the sitting posture. Okay, when you're not touching again, each moment you not make effort so that the whole noting mind is fully, completely, and clearly aware of the touch sensation. Okay, so you put effort into each noting. So as you note continuously like this, sitting, touching, sitting, touching. Each noting with effort, with right effort. Right effort means effort to be mindful of the object. Okay, so not effort to force the mind in any way. Okay, so just to simply be clearly aware, be completely aware of the object. Okay? So if you keep making effort in this way continuously, after a while, you find the noting starts to flow smoothly. When you're not sitting, the noting can stick with the sitting. So when you direct it to the touching, it can go immediately without any problem. So it flows very smoothly, and then it sticks with the touching. So and then when you direct it back to the sitting, it very easily it directs back. Okay? So in the beginning, you find there's a resistance. Sitting. You want to direct it to touching. Sometimes it go very slowly. So when there's not enough energy in the noting, it goes very slowly. After a while, you keep noting continuously, energetically. So the noting mind becomes developed. So it has momentum, it has strength. So it flows smoothly from one object to another to another. So once the mindfulness starts to flow smoothly, object also appear clearly. And then what you can do is that if you find as you're noting, either sitting or touching, that object is particularly clear, then you can stay with that object, whether sitting or touching. Stay with it for maybe a few minutes. Okay, note it continuously. So you, at first, in the beginning, you just note 7, 8 times, and you switch. Then next object also 7, 8 times, and you switch. Okay, this is to get your noting engine running, kick-started. So once your engine is running smoothly, like a Rolls-Royce engine, then you find that the object is particularly clear, you stick with it for a few minutes, okay, before you switch. Okay, so you're not sitting is very clear, you stick with it. Sitting, keep going on, sitting until a few minutes. Okay, and then before you switch to the next object. If next object also clear, then you can stick with it and continue noting it for a few minutes. Okay. If it's not clear, then after 7, 8 notings, you can move on to the next. Okay. So, yeah. So this is generally how you take the sitting, touching as your primary object. The secondary object, you handle them, you note them in the same way as we described for the noting of the rising, falling. Okay, so for sound and sensation in the body, when they are not prominent, you ignore them. You don't have to note them. You continue to note the sitting and the touching. Okay? But for wandering mind, immediately you must note. Okay, because it is by itself, it is a distraction away from the noting or sitting, touching. So you must note wandering mind. You note wholeheartedly, with wholehearted attention, okay, with full effort. Okay, then the wandering stops, and then you direct your attention back again to sitting, touching. Okay? Unwholesome state of mind also must always be noted. Okay? Attachment, desire, craving, aversion, ill will, agitation, dullness of mind, all this state of mind must be noted. Noted and dispelled with noting. Okay. So, and then once they disappear, you know clearly they disappear, then again return attention to the sitting and touching. Okay. wholesome meditative state of mind. As we mentioned, if they are not prominent, you can just leave them be, continue to note. They are sitting and touching. Okay, so they will not disrupt your practice. In fact, they will support your practice. Okay, so wholesome state of mind will support the practice. Okay, it is the unwholesome state of mind that will disrupt the practice. So you have to note them. Right? So the wholesome state of mind, if they are not prominent, you need not note them. Okay, but if they are very prominent, then you can note them. Sometimes they can become so prominent. That means possibly they are out of balance. Then you bring mindfulness to them. And mindfulness will tend to balance it up. And once they balance it out, then they're not so intense. Then you can return attention to the sitting touching. Okay, so this is how you take sitting touching as your primary object. So this is an alternative to the rising falling. So actually, if you like, you can even take this object, sitting touching, continuously for the whole hour as your primary object. Okay, you don't have to switch back to the rising falling. Okay, so as we mentioned just now, so Vipassana is not just rising falling. Sometimes I ask yogis or some people, what do you understand by Vipassana meditation? They say rising falling. So that is one of the object that we can use, we can contemplate when we practice Vipassana meditation. Vipassana meditation is not rising falling. Okay, so we can take objects connected with nama rupa. Any object connected with nama rupa, if you contemplate them, you are doing Vipassana meditation. Okay. Of course, in the beginning, we choose physical object, kaya nupassana, because they are gross, easy to discern. You can note them continuously. It helps you to develop mindfulness and concentration. Okay, so if you like, you find a lot of difficulty using rising falling as primary object. You can switch to this sitting touching as your primary object, and you can use it continuously throughout your sitting meditation. You meditate 1 hour, you can continuously contemplate just the sitting and touching. Okay, you don't need to switch back to the rising falling. Okay, you're still doing Vipassana. Okay, so we stop here today. Any questions? Okay, so there's this question. So if one has shoulder tightness, how can one direct attention to the tightness and relax the scapula? Should one turn the attention inside the structure of the shoulder at one side, then turn the attention to another side? Can I use the mind to relax the shoulder? Is it Vipassana? So in our practice, if you feel tightness and it's very prominent, if it's not prominent, you ignore. So you stay with your primary object, whether rising, falling, or sitting, touching. But if it is very prominent, it commands your attention, and you can't help but turn your attention towards it. Then you note. Okay, so when you note, you simply bring the attention to the tightness and feel it as it is, just tightness. Don't think shoulder, don't think scapula, don't think whatever structure of the body. Huh? So with a skeleton like this, in this shape, this bone joined to that bone and all that. These are all imagination. In Vipassana, we not through imagination. We note whatever is there present directly in our experience. So when you bring your attention to the tightness, what is there that you can experience directly is just the tightness. And so you just be clearly aware of the tightness, okay? Without doing anything to it, okay? Without even wanting the tightness to disappear. You simply bring your attention to the tightness. Okay? Allow the mind to sink into the sensation. Gently relax into it, open up the mind and feel the sensation of tightness. Okay? That's all you do. Okay? You don't have to do anything else. Okay? So, but what happened if you're not skillful in noting a difficult object is that the mind may start to react to the uncomfortable sensation or to the painful sensation. Okay? So when mind starts to react, so you can know the mind starts to tense up. So it's because the mind, there's dosa, there's like dislike, aversion in the mind. So the mind has this dosa, the state of mind, dosa, which dislike it, pushes it away, don't want to experience it, or hits out at the object, at the difficult sensation. So when this happens, the mind becomes tense. So you can know when the mind becomes tense. So it's not relaxed anymore. So when this happened, then you must turn your attention to the mind, okay? Because there's an unwholesome state of mind. Okay? It has a reason. Dosa has a reason. Okay? So if there's no dosa in the mind is very relaxed. The mindful mind, the mindful noting mind is a wholesome mind. A wholesome mind, it doesn't have tension, it's relaxed. It's able to settle into the object. It doesn't reject the object. It doesn't push the object away. Okay? It can be with the object. So without reacting to it. Okay? So so when the mind is reacting to the object in an unskillful way, so it tenses up. Okay? So when it tenses up, then you know that is the first hint that something unwholesome is in the mind. Okay? So then you turn your attention to the mind. Temporarily forget about the tension or the pain. Turn your attention to the mind completely. Turn your attention to the mind and not the state of mind. It's tension, not tension, tension. Tightness, not tightness, tightness. So if there's dislike in the mind, not dislike, dislike. Okay? So just be aware of the state of mind. Okay? Don't pay attention to the object that is giving rise to this state of mind. Just be aware of that state of mind. Dislike, aversion. So be clearly aware of it. Be 100% wholeheartedly aware of it. You must put all the effort into the noting. Okay? Don't let the energy leak out into the aversion. So we must not wholeheartedly, not half noting the aversion, the other half cannot give up the aversion, still want to fight with the object. Then in this way, it will not disappear. So you must put all your effort, 100% into the noting and not aversion, 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 dislike, dislike, dislike. You know, in this way, it disappears. It will disappear. And once it disappears, you can clearly see the changes in the mind. When the mind, before the mind is very tense, suddenly when the aversion disappears, the mind relaxes. It starts to calm down again. Before that, it's very agitated. And now it becomes peaceful again. You can see clearly the change in the mind. Okay? So, because the unwholesome state disappear, the wholesome mind arise, the wholesome noting mind arise. So, so once you see it disappear, the wholesome mind has arisen again. It's calm, it's steady, it is peaceful, it's composed, and then again redirect the attention back to the tightness or the pain, and then you note it again. Okay? So if your mind is really very relaxed, calm, steady, you find the noting mind can stay with difficult object without struggling with it. Okay? So it's only when the unwholesome mind arises, then the mind starts to struggle. And then you have to note the unwholesome state of mind. Note until it disappears. Then you come back. Okay? So once you come back with a wholesome mind, the mind can note with acceptance. You can note this difficult object. Okay? So this is how you handle. So if your mind is relaxed, after a while your body also relax. And your body is relaxed, then the physical pain in the body also tends to slowly subside. On the other hand, if there's a lot of tension, your mind, there's unwholesome state of mind, and then it causes the body to tense up. When the body is tense, whatever pain that you have can become complicated. It becomes more painful. So the Buddha called this being pierced by two thorns. One thorn is the physical pain. Okay? The physical pain, you cannot do anything with it. So it comes with the experience of karma. Okay, so you have a body. This body is created by karma. So you come with this experience. Okay, so nothing you can do with this thorn. But if you are not mindful, you react. With dosa, you react. Then another thorn in the mind. Because dosa comes with painful mental feeling. Okay, so one physical feeling painful, then the mind also feel the pain. Then together, two thorns. Double jeopardy. So let there be just one thorn. So that's why the Buddha says when the body is sick, you should train yourself. When the body is sick, let not the mind also be sick. So one thorn is enough. Okay. So you can note, you can hold your attention, mindfulness steady on the pain. Your mind is relaxed. After a while, the body also relaxed. Then the pain also will slowly subside. However, with a certain type of pain, especially if it is due to injury, then no matter how you note also, it can become more and more intense. And then this is the time when you need viriya, courageous effort to note. Okay? So you try to note as much as you can. You note the pain. Hold your mind steady, relax, note it. The mind tense up, note the mind. And then the mind relax again, go back and note the pain. Okay? So if it tense up again, you note the tension. Note until the tension subside. Then again, go and note the pain. Okay? But it comes to the point if you really cannot tolerate anymore, because everybody has a point of endurance. So you cannot note it anymore. So Then with certain type of pain, you can shift the body and then it will relieve the pain. In that case, if you like to, you can mindfully shift, but mindfully, not the intention to shift, and then mindfully you shift the body. Okay, so after you shifted and the pain is relaxed again, you disperse the pain, then you go back and note what happened to the pain. They disappear or not? Not usually it's still there. Then you continue to note until it disappear, or whatever happened to it. Continue to note. With certain type of pain, especially due to injury, no matter how you shift, also useless. So then you have no choice. Okay. So if it's so painful, you cannot note anymore. No matter how you note, the mind keeps becoming agitated. Okay. No matter how you try to note the mind, it again becomes agitated. Then in that case, since you cannot relieve it by shifting, then you have to shift your attention elsewhere, to another object, prominent object. If rising falling is very prominent, then not shift it back to the rising falling. Or touching is very prominent, not the touching. Sitting is prominent, not the sitting. Some object that you can hold the attention on, so that it don't run back to the pain. Okay. There's another question. Bhante, I've tried noting the sensation of my body touching the mattress and bedsheet while lying down and waiting to doze off naturally. But because of the lack of explicit movement like what we observe in the rise and fall of abdomen, my mind seems to find nothing to note. You can note sensation of touch sensation. As your whole body is pressing down on the bed, surely there is a touch sensation. You can note that. So, or you can note rising, falling. So, direct your attention to the rising, falling. So when you lie down, you can also put both your hands on the abdomen. So don't need any effort, just put it there. So then you can feel the rising, falling. Then you can note that. Okay. All right, that's all the question. So it's time, almost 10 already. So we stop here tonight. Imaya Dhammanu Dhamma Patipatiya Buddha Jemi Imaya Dhammanu Dhamma Patipatiya Dhammam Pujemi Imaya Dhammanu Dhamma Patipatiya Sangham Pujemi Imaya Dhammanu Dhamma Patipatiya Mata Pitunam Pujemi Imaya Dhammanu Dhamma Patipatiya Acariyanam Pujemi Ada Imaya Patipadaya Jaram Ranamha Primochisami Idame Punyam Asavakaya Vaham Hotu Idame Punyam Nibbanasa Pajayo Hotu Idame Silam Magabhalanyanasa Pajayo Hotu imamno punya bhagam sabbasadanam dema. Imamno punya bhagam sabbasadanam dema. Imamno punya bhagam sabbasadanam dema. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. So may all of you be well, happy and peaceful always. May all be healthy and strong and be able to practice Dhamma smoothly without any trouble. May all be able to experience the unconditioned peace of Nibbana through your practice of Dhamma.